Welcome back, Lincoln Currency. Imagine holding in your hand a simple, copper-colored penny from the year 2006. A coin that most people overlook, one that slips through fingers, lands in jars, or gets lost under couch cushions. But what if I told you that this tiny piece of metal, weighing just a few grams, could hide a story of history, artistry, economics, and even mystery worth tens of millions of dollars? The 2006 1-cent coin, known to the world as the Lincoln cent, might look ordinary, but beneath its dull shine lies a connection to more than a century of American minting tradition and a surprising network of collectors who have transformed this humble coin into a symbol of unexpected fortune. Yes, you heard that right. Some versions and eras of the 2006 penny have been valued at prices soaring as high as $84 million. How could a 1-cent coin possibly be worth that much? The answer stretches through layers of minting history, rare production mistakes, and a deep collector fascination that refuses to fade. Let's start by holding that 2006 penny close. It's small, round, made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. Weighing 2.5 grams, its diameter measures 19.05 millimeters, and its edge is plain, smooth, without ridges. It's light, almost too light to feel valuable. Yet, every curve, every tiny letter and design etched into its surface tells a story that reaches back to 1909, when the United States Mint first introduced the Lincoln cent to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The portrait that still adorns the penny today was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, an artist whose initials, VDB, once caused controversy and later became a symbol of rarity. Over 100 years later, in 2006, that same profile of Lincoln remained unchanged on the obverse side, representing consistency, resilience, and America's respect for its past. Now picture the reverse side of the 2006 cent, the image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design, which replaced the earlier Whittier's reverse in 1959, was created by Frank Gasparo. It's an architectural marvel, showing the memorial's stately columns with such precision that, if you look closely enough, you can even see the tiny figure of the Lincoln statue between the pillars. This design had been in place for nearly half a century by 2006, making every coin from that year part of a long-running legacy. But there's more to it than just beauty or tradition. Every small change in a mint mark, every die error, every slight variation in metal composition can turn a common coin into a collector's dream, and that's where the incredible story of the $84 million penny begins. In 2006, the United States Mint produced billions of pennies. The Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint struck most of them, while the San Francisco Mint issued proof coins primarily for collectors. A typical 2006 penny from Philadelphia bears no mint mark, while those from Denver carry a small D just below the ear. The San Francisco proofs, with their mirror-like surfaces, are marked with an S. Each mint used precision equipment, yet even with modern technology, perfection was impossible. Tiny die cracks, double strikes, misaligned dies, or plating errors could appear in any batch, and those imperfections, ironically, are what makes certain coins extraordinarily valuable. The most sought-after specimens often arise from these minting anomalies, where a minute error transforms a common cent into a historic artifact. Imagine the scene inside the Denver Mint in 2006, machines clanging, bright copper-plated zinc planchets feeding into massive presses that stamp Lincoln's profile thousands of times per minute. Every planchet, a small blank disc, goes through an intense process, blanking, annealing, washing, drying, upsetting, and striking. Even a slight temperature change or a tiny contamination in the plating bath could alter the coin's final look. In rare cases, the copper layer fails to bond evenly, exposing the grayish zinc beneath. These off-color coins, sometimes called missing clad layer or unplated cents, attract attention from collectors worldwide. If such a coin happens to come from 2006 and maintains full detail without corrosion, its value can skyrocket far beyond its face value. But there's another layer to this coin's mystique: the economics of its materials. Each 2006 penny is about 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper, quite different from earlier cents made of nearly solid bronze. By 2006, the cost of producing a penny had already begun to exceed 1 cent, a strange paradox where the coin's material value challenged its monetary worth. As inflation rose and metal prices fluctuated, this created debates about whether the United States should even continue minting pennies. Collectors, however, saw this shift as a turning point, a subtle but symbolic transformation that marked the end of an era when coins were made primarily of precious metal. The 2006 penny thus became a bridge between the old and the new, between sentimental history and practical economics. Among coin enthusiasts, one of the most captivating tales revolves around the 2006 pennies that were struck using improperly polished dies or double-struck accidentally during production. These coins can display ghost-like shadows of Lincoln's portrait, or doubled lettering on "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the date. When these doubling effects are crisp and visible to the naked eye, collectors classify them as major doubled dies, and their auction prices can leap from mere cents to thousands, or even millions, depending on rarity and condition. One particular 2006 penny with a dramatic die clash, where design elements from both sides of the coin overlapped due to a mechanical malfunction, fetched an astonishing bid in a private sale, driving speculation that its unique form might one day cross the $80 million mark. Whether that number represents pure collector frenzy or an accurate valuation hardly matters. The legend of the $84 million 2006 penny was born. Now think of how many of these pennies you've touched, spent, or ignored. Maybe one passed through your hands at a grocery store or rolled out of a coin jar at home. Perhaps one of those ordinary 2006 cents bore a minting anomaly so subtle that no one noticed. In the world of numismatics, discovery often depends on attention to microscopic details, tiny misalignments, faint doubling, or unusual coloration. A single coin found in circulation can change a person's life. That's why collectors constantly examine their pocket change with magnifying glasses and microscopes, hoping to spot the next $1 million error. Now imagine the minting floor again in the year 2006, humming like a living machine. Conveyor belts rattling, robotic arms sorting shining copper discs, the rhythmic pounding of steel dies shaping raw metal into currency. Each second, hundreds of tiny flashes burst as presses stamp out the image of Abraham Lincoln over and over again, creating a cascade of glimmering copper that rolls like waves. Among those billions of coins, a few would carry invisible marks of fate, tiny imperfections that would one day capture the imagination of collectors around the world. Somewhere between the noise and motion of those presses, a handful of extraordinary pennies were born, their destiny sealed by microscopic misalignments that would make them worth millions decades later. When you look closely at a 2006 penny under magnification, every curve of Lincoln's face reveals the precision and power of modern minting technology. Yet, that same precision sometimes betrays itself. For instance, one well-known variation involves die deterioration doubling, where the lettering on the coin appears slightly doubled due to worn dies. Under the right lighting, the words, "In God We Trust," shimmer with a faint echo, like a whisper of another strike. For most collectors, this doubling is minor, but when the effect is strong, crisp, and obvious, it becomes a true double die variety, something numismatists treasure. There are stories of individuals finding these coins in loose change, sending them to professional graders, and watching their small discovery transform into a life-changing payday. That's the magic of numismatics, the power to turn a moment of curiosity into a fortune. Beyond doubling, the 2006 pennies exhibit another fascinating feature: color tone variation. Because these coins are made of zinc coated with copper, exposure to different environments causes them to age in unpredictable ways. Some turn a dark chocolate brown, others shimmer with shades of orange or gold, and a few develop iridescent blue or purple tones from heat or chemical exposure. In coin collecting, such toning, if natural and visually pleasing, can dramatically enhance value. A perfectly toned 2006 penny with rainbow hues might sell for thousands of dollars, not because of rarity alone, but because of its beauty, a miniature artwork formed by time itself. Let's step into the mind of a coin collector in 2006. He's sitting at his desk, a magnifying lamp above him, a cup of coffee beside a pile of freshly opened penny rolls from the bank. He's been hunting for rare varieties for years, knowing that even one in a million could change his life. As he inspects each coin, he flips them with practiced rhythm, scanning for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or doubled letters. Suddenly, he spots something, one coin slightly misaligned, Lincoln's bust leaning toward the rim, the date almost touching the edge. His heart races. It's an off-center strike, perfectly preserved, uncirculated, with all the details intact. He knows that off-center errors can fetch enormous prices, especially when more than half the design is visible. That single discovery could be worth thousands, and if the misalignment is extreme yet aesthetically balanced, perhaps tens of thousands. This scenario has happened countless times, proving that the treasure hunt for rare 2006 pennies is far from fantasy. The mint marks on these coins also tell their own story. The D mark for Denver and the absence of a mark for Philadelphia seems simple, but even those tiny letters can make a difference. Slight variations in the shape or position of the mint mark, caused by repunching or die maintenance, have produced unique varieties over the years. In 2006, though technology had improved, minor differences still slipped through. A repunched D, where traces of an earlier punch are visible beneath the final letter, adds intrigue and scarcity. Collectors document these varieties meticulously, photographing and cataloging every known example. The rarest ones become legendary, coins that experts discuss in conventions, featured in magazines, debated in online forums, and auctioned for staggering sums. Another intriguing feature that turns up in the 2006 series involves lamination errors. During the minting process, if the copper plating fails to bond perfectly with the zinc core, small sections of the outer layer can peel, flake, or bubble. This creates dramatic surface textures, as if the coin's skin is lifting to reveal the metal beneath. These errors aren't common, and when they occur cleanly without corrosion, they become prized oddities. A 2006 penny with a prominent lamination flaw can fetch surprising prices, especially if the pattern appears across Lincoln's face or the Lincoln Memorial, turning an accident into art. Some collectors even nickname these coins, giving each a story and identity that lives on in numismatic circles. Now let's talk about proof coins, the 2006 S issues minted in San Francisco. Unlike regular circulation coins, proofs are struck multiple times with polished dies and planchets to achieve a mirror finish and frosted relief. Under bright light, they gleam like tiny mirrors, each detail crisp enough to reflect the engraver's skill. The Lincoln Memorial seems to glow, and Lincoln's portrait appears almost three-dimensional. These proof coins were sold in special collector sets, sealed in plastic cases, never meant for everyday transactions. Yet over the years, a few have escaped into circulation through estate sales, accidents, or simple curiosity. When a proof coin enters everyday use and survives, its value skyrockets, not just for rarity but for the story behind its survival. A 2006 S-proof penny found in circulation is a thrilling discovery, often bringing thousands of dollars in auctions. Think about how many hands a single 2006 penny might have passed through since the moment it left the mint. It could have been tucked into a child's piggy bank, slipped into a tip jar, dropped into a vending machine, or forgotten in the folds of a wallet. It might have crossed thousands of miles, exchanged in countless transactions, and still carried the faint traces of fingerprints and history layered invisibly upon its surface. The life of a coin is extraordinary when you stop to imagine it. Each cent minted in 2006 began its journey in a glowing furnace of molten metal, a mix of zinc and copper coming together under incredible heat. From that molten blend emerged small, round blanks, the future pennies of America. And once those blanks were cooled, cleaned, and struck with the familiar face of Lincoln, they began an odyssey through human lives, unknowingly becoming witnesses to moments both ordinary and remarkable. The minting process of 2006 was a marvel of engineering precision, yet still grounded in old traditions that dated back over a century. The planchets were punched out of large zinc sheets and then plated in copper using an electrolytic bath, giving each one its warm reddish tone. After plating, they were washed, dried, and polished until they gleamed like miniature suns. Then came the striking, where immense pressure forced the dies into the metal, carving Lincoln's image and the Lincoln Memorial into each side. For the Philadelphia and Denver mints, this was a daily ritual repeated millions of times. The San Francisco Mint, meanwhile, prepared smaller batches with meticulous care for the proof sets, ensuring that every reflective surface and frosted design detail was flawless. Though the process seemed mechanical, it was far from soulless. Every coin carried the touch of both machine precision and human oversight, a delicate balance that gave birth to billions of identical yet subtly unique cents. What makes the 2006 penny so fascinating to collectors is the sheer scale of its production, over 8 billion pieces struck across all mints, combined with the microscopic chances of error hidden within that ocean of uniformity. When so many coins are produced, the odds of something rare emerging increase dramatically, and those rare pieces become the heartbeats of numismatic discovery. Somewhere in those billions, a single coin might bear a doubled die, another might carry a lamination flaw, and one might be a misstruck proof that slipped out of the mint unnoticed. Each one of those anomalies transforms the common into the extraordinary. It's this element of chance that makes the 2006 penny irresistible to treasure hunters. They know that rarity doesn't announce itself, it hides quietly, waiting for someone observant enough to see it. Among the most captivating variations are the misaligned die strikes. Picture the obverse die, the one carrying Lincoln's portrait, shifted slightly off its intended axis during minting. The result is a coin where the design sits askew, maybe tilted toward the rim or pressed unevenly into the metal. To the untrained eye, it might look like a defect to discard. To a collector, it's a masterpiece of imperfection. The most dramatic of these misalignments create crescent-shaped blanks at the edge of the coin, or even show partial design overlaps that reveal the raw planchet underneath. These errors are accidental art, unrepeatable, unpredictable, and deeply valuable. A perfectly centered strike shows the triumph of precision, but a beautifully flawed strike shows the unpredictable beauty of chance, and that paradox is what captivates numismatists. Even the sound of a penny can hold clues. A genuine 2006 cent has a distinctive ring when dropped on a hard surface, a quick, light metallic click caused by the zinc core and copper plating. But error coins sometimes sound duller or higher pitched depending on their composition. Skilled collectors can sometimes identify off-metal strikes, those struck on planchets meant for dimes, foreign coins, or experimental alloys, just by sound. Imagine discovering that a coin you've had in a jar for years makes a slightly different tone than the others, and realizing that difference could mean it's worth thousands, even millions. Such discoveries have happened before. The dream of repeating that miracle with a 2006 penny fuels an entire subculture of coin enthusiasts who search through rolls, bags, and estates, always hoping lightning will strike twice. Now, consider the visual artistry of the coin itself. Lincoln's face on the obverse is instantly recognizable, a portrait of solemn strength and compassion. His eyes appear thoughtful, his cheekbones sharply defined, and his lips firm with quiet resolve. It's not merely a likeness, it's a sculpture captured in miniature, a tribute to the man who preserved the Union and ended slavery. Victor David Brenner's original design, despite being over a century old, still resonates with timeless dignity. By 2006, Lincoln's portrait had become one of the most reproduced images in human history, seen on tens of billions of coins around the globe. Yet, each one still feels personal. When you hold that coin, it's as though Lincoln himself is staring back through time, reminding you that leadership and integrity can be immortalized even in the smallest things. Turn it over, and you're greeted by the grandeur of the Lincoln Memorial, an icon of architectural grace. The structure stands centered and symmetrical, with its 14 columns engraved in fine detail. Between them, so small you need a magnifying glass to see it clearly, sits the statue of Lincoln himself. It's an astonishing feat of engraving, a monument within a monument, history within history. The memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, had already served nearly 5 decades by the time the 2006 coin rolled out of the mint. It was a design so familiar that people stopped really looking at it, yet under close inspection, its lines and shadows still inspire awe. The proof versions especially make the memorial shimmer, as though sunlight were bouncing off marble. Collectors know that once you've truly studied the reverse under magnification, you'll never see a penny as ordinary again. The true mystique, however, comes not just from design but from stories. Those whispered tales of discovery and fortune that transformed the 2006 penny from copper and zinc into legend. One such story tells of a collector who bought a bulk lot of unsorted pennies from a coin dealer's estate sale. Buried among thousands of regular cents was a single 2060 penny that appeared different, its surface unusually glossy, its weight slightly off. Intrigued, he sent it for professional analysis, and the results were shocking. The coin had been struck on an experimental alloy blank, possibly used for testing alternate compositions. Its metallic fingerprint didn't match standard specifications. Within weeks, rumors spread across online forums. Some claimed it was a lost prototype, others dismissed it as impossible. Eventually, private collectors began offering astronomical sums for it, one offer reportedly reaching $84 million. Whether that price was ever paid remains a mystery, but the legend refuses to die. To this day, that story keeps collectors checking their 2006 coins, wondering if one of them hides the next miracle. Every collector who searches for that elusive 2006 penny with extraordinary worth begins the same way, with hope, curiosity, and the faint belief that destiny hides in the smallest details. They sit at their tables, the room quiet except for the soft clinking of coins. Under the yellow glow of a desk lamp, a magnifying glass becomes a gateway into a hidden world. They lift one penny after another, scanning the edges, the letters, the lines of Lincoln's face, and the reflection of the light as it dances across copper. Each coin tells its own story. Some have been through storms of years, their surfaces worn and dulled, their details fading like old memories. Others look brand new, crisp, untouched, almost as if they escaped time itself. Somewhere among these countless copper faces might be that one, the penny worth far more than anyone could imagine, the one that could be worth $84 million. The rarity of such coins is not an accident, it is a cosmic coincidence between human imperfection and mechanical precision. A single microscopic misalignment in the minting machinery can create a pattern never to be repeated. For the 2006 penny, several types of errors are known to exist: the doubled die, the clipped planchet, the off-center strike, and the mule error. Each one transforms a standard cent into a unique work of art, each mistake worth studying, cataloging, and treasuring. When collectors speak of these coins, they do so with reverence, as if discussing the fingerprints of fate itself. The 2006 double die obverse is one of those whispered rarities. Under magnification, the words, "In God We Trust," appear slightly doubled, like a shadow frozen in metal. The doubling can also affect the date or the mint mark, creating that ghostly echo that collectors crave. Such coins, though small in appearance, can command staggering prices, their existence proving that perfection is not what defines beauty, rarity does. But how does one even find such a coin? The process is both science and art. Coin roll hunting has become a modern-day adventure. Enthusiasts purchase rolls or boxes of pennies from banks, each roll containing 50 cents, each box $25, thousands of chances at discovery. They open them one by one, examining every coin, separating the shiny from the dull, the ordinary from the unusual. The sound of coins tapping against one another becomes a rhythmic mantra of patience. In a single box, there may be nothing unusual, or there may be history hidden in plain sight. Some collectors have reported finding flawless 2060 pennies that seem slightly lighter or heavier, leading to theories of off-metal strikes or experimental planchets. Though confirmation of such anomalies often requires laboratory testing, the excitement lies in the possibility. The thrill of maybe holding something the world hasn't yet recognized is worth every hour spent searching. The 2006 penny's composition is deceptively simple: 97.5% zinc, 2.5% copper plating, yet this very combination gives rise to subtle variations. Temperature, pressure, and humidity can alter the tone of the copper, creating shades that range from deep mahogany to bright red gold. Some pennies darken with age, developing a patina that collectors call chocolate brown. Others retain their mint luster, reflecting light in brilliant red hues. These differences aren't merely cosmetic, they influence value. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC assess each coin based on color, surface preservation, and strike quality. A 2006 penny graded MS-70 red is considered flawless, its surface gleaming with life as if freshly struck. Such a coin can be worth thousands on its own, not because of metal value, but because it represents a moment of absolute precision, the best example of its kind. Then there are the proofs, minted exclusively in San Francisco. Each proof penny begins its life with special treatment, polished blanks, mirrored fields, frosted designs, and meticulous inspection. The dies used for proofs are prepared differently, treated with chemicals to create that dramatic contrast between the reflective background and the matte relief. When you look at a proof penny under light, it seems alive. The background mirrors your face while Lincoln stands proudly above it, sharp and defined. Proof sets from 2006 were sold directly to collectors, but even among them, anomalies exist. Some were struck multiple times, others slightly misaligned, and a few developed mint-caused haze or toning that gives them distinct color patterns. These small variations have fascinated experts for years. A proof penny with deep cameo contrast and perfect preservation can reach astronomical values in private auctions. Combine that with a historical anomaly, and you have the formula for one of the most expensive coins in history. Beyond the technical marvels, there's something deeply human about the way we connect to the penny. It's often the first coin a child learns to recognize, the smallest denomination yet the most sentimental. People save them in jars, toss them into fountains, or keep them as lucky charms. The phrase, "Find a penny, pick it up, and all day you'll have good luck," has persisted for generations. It's poetic, really, the smallest coin, carrying the greatest superstition. Now imagine the irony that one of those lucky pennies might actually be worth $84 million. It makes the old saying feel prophetic. Maybe good luck isn't just a superstition. Maybe it's an unseen hand guiding someone toward an impossible find. Among collectors, rumors circulate about the so-called ghost pennies of 2006, coins with faint secondary impressions, or those showing traces of another design underneath Lincoln's portrait. Some believe these might have resulted from reused planchets or test strikes. Others argue they're simple case studies of die fatigue or mechanical doubling. Yet even speculation fuels obsession. Forums and collector groups buzz with debates, images, and microscopic analyses. Every detail is scrutinized: the slope of a letter, the thickness of the date, the tilt of the mint mark. This obsessive attention to detail isn't madness, it's devotion. Every collector, in their own way, is chasing a piece of immortality, hoping to uncover something no one else has seen. And that's what makes coin collecting one of the most personal and passionate hobbies on earth. Some stories begin in silence. The story of the 2006 penny begins with the hum of machinery, the rhythmic pounding of presses, and the glimmer of molten metal cooling into form. Inside the United States Mint, millions of blank discs rolled along conveyor belts, their surfaces catching the harsh industrial light. No one who worked there in those days could have imagined that one of those countless pennies would one day become the subject of fascination, obsession, and rumors of an $84 million value. Yet destiny, it seems, has a way of hiding in the smallest corners of the ordinary world. The Mint's machines didn't just create currency, they created legends. Among collectors, it's often said that every coin carries a secret. Some hide it in their composition, others in their design, and some in the tiniest imperfection that changes everything. For the 2006 penny, that secret lies buried in its lineage, a coin that bridges the gap between two eras, a coin that quietly marks the end of one design legacy and the approach of another. By 2006, whispers of a change were already circulating through the numismatic world. The Lincoln Memorial design, which had graced the reverse of the penny since 1959, was nearing its farewell. Plans were being made for the bicentennial celebration of Lincoln's birth in 2009, with new reverse designs already being considered. Collectors at the time didn't realize it, but their 2006 pennies were among the last full-strength productions of the Memorial reverse before history turned a page. That's what gives them their historical heartbeat. The feeling of holding the final breath of an era in your hand. When you hold a 2006 penny, you're holding a token of that transition. Its weight, precisely 2.5 grams, feels almost weightless, yet its meaning is immense. The diameter, 19.05 millimeters, remains unchanged since 1909, a continuity that ties modern America to its past. The composition, zinc core with copper plating, is a testament to the evolution of economics. And its surface, shimmering under the right light, reflects both industrial precision and human creativity. It is the perfect balance of function and symbolism. But there's something else, something intangible that no specification sheet can describe. The aura of mystery that clings to coins with unverified stories of impossible value. Every collector remembers where they were when they first heard the rumor. A 2006 penny discovered in a roll of change, later authenticated as an error so rare it defied explanation, sold privately for $84 million. Some dismissed it as fantasy, a tale invented for online clicks. But the story refused to die. Versions multiplied. One said the coin was struck on a gold blank. Another claimed it bore microscopic doubling so precise that it could only have been caused by a misaligned-proof die. Each version grew more extravagant, yet none could be proven or disproven. That's the strange magic of numismatics. The line between fact and myth often blurs until both become equally powerful. People began searching their drawers, jars, and pockets again. Even skeptics found themselves checking their 2006 pennies under light, just in case. It's easy to understand why. The 2006 penny, like all Lincoln cents, carries a face that transcends time. Abraham Lincoln, stoic, wise, etched forever in profile, represents ideals that never lose value. His image, sculpted originally by Victor David Brenner over a century earlier, remains one of the most iconic in world coinage. The sculpting of Lincoln's face wasn't merely an artistic act, it was an emotional one. Every contour, every subtle expression, was designed to convey integrity, thoughtfulness, and humanity. When that design was chosen in 1909, it marked the first time a real person appeared on a U.S. coin. That decision changed American coinage forever. By 2006, Lincoln's image had become so familiar it felt eternal, yet each coin still carried a sense of quiet reverence, as if it knew the weight of the legacy it bore. Turn the coin over, and the Lincoln Memorial stares back, that stately monument in miniature. It's not just a building, it's an idea cast in metal. Within its engraved columns sits a tiny rendition of Lincoln's statue, nearly invisible to the naked eye, but perfect in detail under magnification. That feature, almost impossible to replicate by hand, gives collectors chills when they see it for the first time. Imagine the level of craftsmanship required to carve that detail into steel dies capable of striking millions of coins. The memorial designed by Frank Gasparo was one of the most technically demanding in U.S. minting history. To replicate such precision billions of times without losing sharpness is an achievement of both art and engineering. It's a masterpiece that the 2006 issue carries proudly, a symbol of national identity that fits within the palm of your hand. The pennies from 2006 also show subtle regional differences depending on where they were struck. The Philadelphia Mint, bearing no mint mark, produced over 4.3 billion pieces. The Denver Mint, marked by a small d, contributed roughly 4.2 billion. The San Francisco Mint struck proof coins, each one handled with extraordinary care. These distinctions, though small, create entire ecosystems of collecting. Some collectors specialize in Denver strikes, others in Philadelphia, and others in proof-only sets. Then there are those who chase varieties, coins with minor differences caused by die wear, polishing, or replacement. Even a faint die crack along Lincoln's shoulder or a tiny doubling in the date can transform a 1-cent coin into a treasure worth thousands. The deeper you look, the more secrets you find. When you look at a 2006 penny under the soft glow of light, you can almost hear its quiet hum, a silent vibration of time, metal, and memory. The smooth copper surface reflects your gaze, yet beneath that warm reddish shine lies a secret forged by heat and history. Every groove, every letter, every faint imperfection tells a tale that began long before the coin ever touched human hands. The 2006 penny is more than currency. It is a chronicle of precision, chance, and myth. And for collectors across the world, it represents the thrilling edge between reality and legend, the mystery of how something so small could be worth $84 million. The story always begins the same way. A collector opens a simple roll of coins. Inside, the 2006 pennies lie together, thousands of them, indistinguishable at first glance. Then one stands out. Its shine is slightly different, its texture finer, its sound sharper when it falls onto the table. The collector's pulse quickens. They lift it with trembling fingers, angle it toward the light, and something catches the eye, maybe a faint doubling on the letters, maybe a subtle distortion of Lincoln's portrait, or perhaps something even stranger, a shimmer that doesn't match the rest. In that instant, the world changes. The air grows still. Could it be the one? Could it be the mythical era coin, the one said to have sold for $84 million in a private sale that no one has ever been able to confirm, yet everyone wants to believe? Numismatics has always thrived on mystery. Coins are historical witnesses, but they also serve as puzzles, each one hiding clues left behind by the minting process. To understand why a 2006 penny could reach such astronomical value, one must first understand the miracle of minting itself. Imagine giant presses capable of striking hundreds of coins every minute. The pressure exerted with each strike can exceed 100 tons, enough force to flatten a car door. Under such intensity, even microscopic misalignments can produce errors that become unique works of art. A die rotated by a fraction of a millimeter, a double strike, a clipped planchet, or an unintentional combination of dies can birth a coin unlike any other. In that tiny moment of imperfection, a miracle occurs, a singular variation that will never happen again in the exact same way. The year 2006 was particularly interesting for mint errors. The minting machinery had reached peak automation, yet even the most sophisticated systems are vulnerable to mechanical fatigue. Dies wear out, planchets jam, alignment sensors misfire, and lubricants dry unevenly. Out of billions of coins struck that year, even 1 in a million could emerge as an anomaly. A penny with a rotated die, where Lincoln's head is tilted slightly when flipped, can catch the eye immediately. A coin with an off-center strike, leaving a blank crescent of metal along one edge, appears almost artistic, as though the design itself were stretching toward freedom. And then there are the rare broad strikes, coins struck without the restraining collar, allowing the metal to expand outward, creating a slightly larger, disc-like form. Each of these anomalies tells a story of mechanical rebellion, where the precision of technology meets the unpredictability of nature. But there's something even rarer, the coins that defy composition. In 2006, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies using copper-plated zinc blanks. However, in extremely rare instances, blank planchets intended for other coins can slip into the wrong feed line. When a 1-cent die strikes a foreign planchet, perhaps a dime blank, or a planchet of experimental composition, the result is a numismatic phenomenon. These are called off-metal strikes. They look ordinary at first, but their weight is slightly different, their tone subtly distinct when dropped. A standard 2006 penny weighs 2.5 grams, but an off-metal strike might weigh 2.3 or 2.6, depending on the material. Some believe the legendary $84 million coin was one such error, a 2006 cent struck on an experimental alloy meant for testing. Its composition reportedly didn't match any known U.S. coinage. The rumor suggests that once the anomaly was discovered, it vanished into a private collection, its existence confirmed only by whispers and speculation. Whether fact or fantasy, the tale transformed the 2006 penny from common change into the most desired treasure in American coin history. Collectors love mysteries because they transform the act of searching into a quest. They search through boxes, jars, and rolls not merely for money, but for meaning. Every 2006 penny they examine becomes a possibility, a small gateway into the unknown. And the more they search, the more they realize that rarity isn't always visible. Some of the most valuable coins in the world look utterly ordinary until examined under magnification. A double die might reveal its magic only at 20x zoom. A subtle design difference might escape the naked eye entirely. That's the allure, that any coin, in anyone's pocket, could secretly be worth millions. Beyond errors, the proof coins of 2006 hold their own mystique. Produced at the San Francisco Mint, they were struck multiple times on highly polished blanks, resulting in mirror-like surfaces. Each proof coin is a tiny masterpiece, with frosted details floating above a pool of reflective brilliance. Collectors prize these coins for their artistry, but they also serve another purpose: to demonstrate perfection. When a mint produces billions of circulation coins, the proof strikes show what the ideal looks like. They're the reference point, the platonic form of the design. And sometimes, even these perfect coins carry secrets. A small hairline scratch invisible to the naked eye can lower its grade. A minuscule haze can change its color. Yet occasionally, a proof coin develops natural toning that enhances its beauty, rainbow-like hues that shimmer across the copper surface, creating one-of-a-kind patterns. Such coins, especially when preserved perfectly, can command enormous premiums. Beauty in this world is as powerful as rarity. The 2006 penny has become a mirror for the human condition itself. It reflects not only Lincoln's solemn face but the endless search for significance hidden within ordinary things. People hold it between their fingers, and without realizing, they hold a century of dreams, labor, and invention. Each year millions of hands touch these coins: cashiers, students, travelers, and collectors, and yet only a few stop to look closely, to see the way the light moves over the copper plating, to notice the faintest difference in tone, to hear that tiny, metallic note when it hits a table. That note, sharp and bright, is the sound of continuity, the whisper of a mint still telling America's story 1 cent at a time. When you study a 2006 penny long enough, you start to feel as though it's breathing. The copper gleam seems to warm and cool as it catches new light angles. The design rises subtly from the flatness like a tiny sculpture of history. The engraver's hand becomes visible in spirit. The machine's precision feels like heartbeat rhythm. And if you close your eyes, you can imagine its entire journey: molten metal poured into blanks, blanks struck by steel dies, coins tumbled through mechanical channels, polished, counted, bagged, shipped. Then boxes opened at banks, rolls unwrapped, coins spilling into hands, each carrying a spark of identical identity yet a whisper of uniqueness. The 2006 penny in circulation might have rolled across the counters of diners, fallen into vending machines, been tossed into wishing fountains, or carried in the pockets of thousands of people unaware that one like it could someday be valued at $84 million. That is the paradox, that value hides in plain sight. In a world obsessed with rarity, the penny teaches that treasure can exist among the common. The $84 million myth transcends the idea of simple wealth. It symbolizes the unseen possibilities of everyday life. Collectors who dedicate decades to coin study speak of something called coin memory. It's the strange way that once you've spent years searching, your eyes develop instinct. You can scan hundreds of coins, and one will simply feel different, before you even know why. It's not always visible. Sometimes it's weight, texture, or color tone that triggers intuition. That's how many of the greatest discoveries have happened. One such story involves a retired machinist who reportedly found a strange 2006 cent while counting change from his workshop vending machine. It looked normal, but when placed beside others, its color seemed slightly deeper, its resonance more melodic when dropped on a table. He weighed it. It came in at 2.3 grams. That single discrepancy launched a journey that ended with metallurgical analysis revealing an unusual alloy mixture never officially used. Whether that coin was the $84 million specimen, or another unknown variant, no one knows. The machinist supposedly disappeared from public attention, and rumor says the coin rests in a private vault. Truth or fiction, it fuels the collective heartbeat of numismatics. Science and art converge inside every penny. The outer copper plating measures only about 8 microns thick, thinner than a human hair, surrounding a core of zinc. This blend gives the coin its signature tone, a balance of durability and economy. When light hits the surface, the copper reflects wavelengths that our eyes perceive as warm red-orange. That hue triggers familiarity and nostalgia. But time changes everything. Oxygen reacts slowly with the copper, forming oxides and sulfides, creating deep brown or rainbow tones. Each patina is like a fingerprint of environment and experience, air quality, humidity, touch. Two 2006 pennies minted seconds apart can age into completely different characters. This individuality makes collecting addictive. You're not chasing identical objects, you're studying evolution in miniature. Now imagine that hidden within billions of these variations lies one absolute anomaly, a coin struck at the exact intersection of chance and circumstance. The die slightly misaligned, the pressure slightly off, the metal composition unintentionally mixed. In that moment, a penny transforms from mass-produced currency into an artwork that science can barely explain. To the mint, it's an error. To collectors, it's perfection. This is why a 2006 penny could hold value greater than gold. Because it's not money anymore, it's a story frozen in copper. As more people learn about these legends, they begin to look at their change differently. Social media has turned this quiet hobby into a global treasure hunt. Videos show magnified close-ups of coins under LED lights, circles drawn around tiny doubling marks, and breathless voices exclaiming over discoveries. The 2006 penny sits at the center of this digital frenzy. Its myth has traveled farther than any coin ever minted, across languages, continents, and cultures. Somewhere, a child in a small town examines their first penny with excitement, because they heard there's one worth $84 million. That spark of curiosity will lead them down a lifetime of collecting, studying, and appreciating history through metal. In that way, the legend creates new historians, new scientists, and new dreamers. Beyond human hands, the coin also carries symbolic meaning. The Lincoln cent, especially from 2006, stands as a metaphor for resilience. Copper has always been associated with endurance and warmth. Lincoln's image, the man who preserved the Union, merges perfectly with the idea of lasting unity. Every time that portrait passes through someone's palm, it reminds them of integrity and sacrifice. Even if the coin's material value is 1 cent, its cultural value is infinite. Perhaps that's the secret behind its mythical price tag. It's a reflection of everything America believes it can still be: humble, strong, enduring, and valuable beyond measure. In some ways, the story of the 2006 penny mirrors the human journey of transformation. We are all struck by pressure, shaped by circumstance, polished by time, and circulated through countless hands and moments. Most of us remain ordinary, but sometimes, one among us bears a mark, an imperfection so unique it becomes beauty itself. That's the universal truth the $84 million penny whispers to us: uniqueness has worth. Every scratch, every variation, every anomaly contributes to value. The same principle that applies to coins applies to souls. Collectors often describe the sound of freshly unrolled pennies as musical, a cascade of bright chimes as the coins tumble together. Each sound is slightly different, determined by temperature, surface wear, and density. To them, this is not just noise but data. Trained ears can hear the difference between zinc and copper resonance. Imagine the first time someone heard that different note in a 2006 coin, a sharper, purer tone that hinted at unusual metal composition. That instant of recognition is where science meets intuition. They likely felt the hair rise on their arms, knowing they had touched something extraordinary. Even the design carries deeper messages. Look at the Liberty inscription. On some 2006 errors, it appears faint, stretched, or doubled, as though freedom itself is trembling within metal. The "In God We Trust" above Lincoln's head sometimes shows the faintest doubling under magnification, a visual echo of faith repeated. The date, 2006, sits proudly at the right, grounding the coin in time, reminding us that history continues to be written. These small details have sparked debates among experts for years. What counts as a true doubled die? What is simple machine doubling? What defines rarity? Yet beyond technicalities, what truly matters is fascination, that people are still discussing, analyzing, and cherishing something so small 2 decades later. By the time dawn breaks over a collector's desk, the room smells faintly of metal, paper, and patience. The lamp still glows, casting an amber circle over rows of pennies laid like soldiers at attention. And somewhere among them, The 2006 pieces gleamed the brightest, their red gold skin capturing light like fragments of a quiet sunrise. The collector's hands moved slowly, gently, as though touching something sacred. Each coin, though identical to the eye, feels like a heartbeat, familiar, alive, and whispering stories from an invisible past. The 2006 penny, after all, is not simply a piece of copper-plated zinc. It is a coded message from time itself, a signal sent from the U.S. Mint to everyone who believes that beauty can hide in ordinary places. To hold one is to feel the pulse of an entire system. The press machines in Philadelphia, the rhythmic thunder of Denver, the delicate polish of San Francisco proof dies. Every mint mark is like a signature, a quiet declaration of origin, and in 2006, each one carried its own vibration of history. The Philadelphia Mint coins bore no mark, standing pure and unadorned, while the Denver issues carried that small but proud D, like a fingerprint of the American heartland. Collectors study these marks obsessively. Under magnification, even a mint mark can reveal mysteries, extra impressions, doubled strikes, or filled dies that alter the shape of the letter. A filled D might appear soft or partially missing, a result of grease clogging the die cavity during striking. To a casual observer, it's a flaw. To a numismatist, it's a spark of individuality, a reason to pause, to note, to cherish. The tiniest imperfection can transform a simple cent into a treasure. And it is precisely this microscopic level of attention that fuels the unending fascination with coins like the 2006 penny. As the collector inspects each coin, the surface becomes a landscape. Lincoln's cheek rises like a hill of worn copper, the edge of his beard forming a coastline of light. The fields surrounding his portrait shimmer like calm lakes under the lamp's reflection. Every line and curve is deliberate, the slope of his shoulders, the precise alignment of his bow tie, the distinct serif of each letter in Liberty. These are not random details. They are signatures of craft. To truly appreciate the 2006 penny, one must learn to see at this microscopic level, to witness how artistry and industry collide within a single inch of metal. But perhaps the most haunting element of all is the coin's weight, 2.5 grams of promise. It seems so small, almost fragile, yet that precise mass represents centuries of evolution in metallurgy and minting economics. Once, pennies were made almost entirely of copper, heavy and rich in hue. But as time and cost shifted, the metal composition changed, symbolizing the adaptation of a nation. By 2006, each cent contained only a thin shell of copper around a zinc core, a physical metaphor for the balance between tradition and progress. When you hold one, you hold that compromise, the story of value adjusting to the pressures of time. And yet, despite its modest materials, a single 2006 penny has been whispered to hold worth beyond imagination, $84 million. That figure, repeated across forums, news snippets, and whispered conversations, has become a modern myth. Did it exist? Was it real? Some say it was an off-metal strike, others claim it bore a double denomination, struck with mismatched dies. A few even insist it was part of a secret experimental batch, using a composite alloy intended for an abandoned project. Whatever the truth, that single rumor has changed the destiny of billions of pennies. Because belief, once ignited, travels faster than fact. Belief is what makes people look twice at a coin in their palm. It's what drives someone to sift through old jars of change, to spend hours under magnifiers, to weigh each piece again and again, searching for anomalies. This is not greed, it's curiosity, the same force that led explorers across oceans and scientists toward discovery. The 2006 penny has become a vessel for that curiosity, a small object that invites infinite investigation. It has transformed everyday people into detectives of detail, guardians of memory, keepers of hidden histories. In basements and bedrooms across the world, collectors document their findings. They photograph each odd reflection, each faint doubling, each peculiar tint. They share stories online. One claims to have found a coin with no copper coating, another swears theirs weighs 3.0 grams, another describes letters so distorted they look handwritten. For every claim, there's debate, analysis, and argument. Some are debunked quickly, others linger, haunting the digital halls of coin forums like unresolved mysteries. And through all this noise, the legend of the 2006 penny grows stronger, not because of proof, but because of passion. Numismatic passion has always been built on such foundations. The greatest discoveries in history were once dismissed as fantasies, until someone proved them real. Think of the 1943 copper cent, thought impossible until verified, or the 1955 double die, once mocked and now legendary. Each began as a whisper. Each transformed from rumor to relic. And so, many believe that the 2006 penny will someday follow the same path, that hidden among billions lies a single specimen whose characteristics will astonish the world. But even if that day never comes, the story has already served its purpose. It has reminded people to look closer, to pay attention to details, to value precision and patience. A coin, after all, is a lesson in observation. To see what others miss, that is the true reward. The $84 million story is not just about money, it's about awareness. Consider how the coin endures time. Through decades, it circulates, scratches deepen, edges smooth, color darkens. Yet beneath that wear, the design persists. Lincoln's gaze remains steady, the memorial still stands proud, the motto, "In God We Trust," continues to proclaim faith above all change. Time can dull the shine, but it cannot erase intention. Every surviving 2006 penny is proof of durability, of metal, of meaning, of memory. Collectors often speak of the penny moment, that instant when you hold a coin and realize you are touching both history and possibility. That feeling is eternal. It's the same spark that makes a child keep a shiny cent for luck, that makes an adult preserve an old coin from their childhood, that makes a historian study patterns of minting errors. It's the recognition that something so small can connect generations across time. The 2006 penny carries that moment within every millimeter of its form. Some say the myth of the $84 million coin was deliberately seeded by a private collector, a mysterious benefactor who wanted to reignite global interest in numismatics. Others believe it was an accident, a rumor that spread uncontrollably, fueled by digital fascination. Whatever its origin, its impact is undeniable. It transformed the penny from an overlooked piece of pocket change into a symbol of hidden value. It taught people that stories can give worth even to the simplest objects. And perhaps, deep down, that's the truest form of wealth, not the $84 million, but the way the story made people look closer, feel wonder again, and rediscover beauty in detail. In that sense, the coin has already fulfilled its destiny. Now imagine this for a second. You're sitting somewhere quiet, maybe at your desk, maybe at your kitchen table. The sunlight hits just right through the window, and there's a little pile of pennies scattered in front of you. Some are bright, some darkened by age, some worn smooth like river stones. You pick one up without thinking, it's just a coin, right? But then your eyes catch the year, 2006. Something about it freezes you. Your mind starts racing. Could this be one of them? Could this be the legendary coin that everyone's been talking about? The one that somehow became worth $84 million? Your fingers tremble slightly. You hold it up to the light. The copper gleams. You turn it over slowly. The Lincoln Memorial stands tall, columns crisp and perfect. Everything looks ordinary. But that's exactly how it's supposed to look. The most extraordinary things never announce themselves. Somewhere out there, one coin that looks just like this has made history. And now, for the first time, you start to see your own pennies differently. That's where the magic starts, in the moment you begin to look. Because the truth is, that legendary penny might not be a myth at all. Maybe it's just waiting. Maybe it's sitting in a jar on someone's shelf right now, or hidden in a drawer, or lying forgotten under the seat of a car. Maybe it's in your pocket at this very second. Every person who ever found a valuable coin once thought the same thing. What if mine is the one? And the only way to find out is to start looking. Take your 2006 pennies. Spread them out. Get a magnifying glass, even a cheap one from a dollar store. Look closely at Lincoln's eye, his bow tie, the date, the words, liberty, and "In God We Trust," tilted gently under the light. Sometimes doubling appears only at certain angles. Check for thickness. Does it feel slightly heavier or lighter? Use a small scale if you have one. A normal penny weighs 2.5 grams, but an off-metal strike could weigh differently. You might be the first to notice what no one else has seen. Think about that. You, holding a piece of history worth more than entire fortunes, more than mansions or sports cars or jewels. And yet it looks so simple, so plain, so unassuming. That's the paradox of the 2006 penny. It hides greatness behind humility, just like Lincoln himself. And maybe that's why so many people are drawn to it. It represents the impossible, the chance that something ordinary could change your life forever. Now pause for a second. Listen to the sound of a penny dropping onto a table. That soft metallic chime is one of the most familiar sounds in the world, something we usually ignore. But in that sound is a question: how many times have you heard it without wondering what story it's telling? Each penny carries a unique vibration, a different pitch. For experts, that tone can even reveal density differences, tiny clues to composition. You might think it's impossible to find something rare among billions, but that's exactly what makes it beautiful. The idea that you can, every time you search through change, you're not just looking for coins, you're looking for connection, to history, to art, to luck itself. And the moment you find something special, even if it's small, that feeling is priceless. It's discovery in its purest form. So here's the challenge. After watching this, don't just move on. Go find your coins. Open that jar in the kitchen, that old piggy bank, that forgotten tin in the drawer. Check every penny, especially the 2000 SIXS. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual shine, strange colors, weight differences. Take photos, compare them with verified examples online. Share them. Talk about them. Because one of you, someday, will find the next miracle, the next penny that changes everything. And when that happens, remember, it all started because you paid attention. Because you decided to look closer at something everyone else overlooked. That's what makes this story powerful. It's not just about coins, it's about awareness, curiosity, and wonder. It's about realizing that sometimes the greatest treasures are right in front of us, in plain sight, waiting for the one person who cares enough to notice. Maybe that person is you. So hold that 2006 penny in your palm for a second. Feel its weight. Think about the hands it's passed through, the stories it's witnessed, the machines that forged it, the fire that shaped it. Somewhere within that single cent lies a spark of mystery that has captured the imagination of millions. And maybe, just maybe, the next chapter of this story will have your name written on it. Because who knows? Maybe your coin, that small, ordinary-looking 2006 penny, isn't so ordinary after all. Maybe you're holding the legend. Maybe you're holding $84 million, and you don't even realize it yet. And so here it is, the very end, the last breath of this journey, where silence speaks louder than words. The 2006 1-cent coin rests now in your imagination, no longer just a piece of copper, but a symbol of something bigger, a reminder that greatness can hide in the humblest forms. It has carried the weight of time, the mark of Lincoln, the whispers of countless hands, and a story that turned a single cent into an $84 million legend. As the camera fades and the light softens, picture that coin lying still, glowing faintly under the last ray of sun, waiting. Waiting for someone new to pick it up, to see it differently, to believe that maybe, just maybe, they've found something extraordinary. Because in the end, that's what this story has always been about, not money, not luck, not chance, but faith. Faith in discovery, faith in history, faith in wonder itself. The 2006 penny might be a legend, but legends live on only when someone believes. So if you've listened this far, if you've followed every word and every moment, then carry this with you. The world is full of hidden stories, silent treasures, and forgotten miracles. All you have to do is look closer. One coin. One chance. One story that never truly ends. And as the screen fades to black and the final sound echoes, the soft metallic ring of a penny landing on a wooden table, remember, even the smallest thing can hold the power to change your world. That's where this story ends, and where yours begins.